The first drop. The sky isn't always sunny after the rain. That Thursday was one of those days. After a full week of relentless showers, calmness had finally returned to the skies over Chicago, a calmness that was still very much relative. A massive mass of dark clouds cloaked the sky so thickly that it was hard to tell day from night. As the last drizzle touched Freddie's rough face, he tilted his cigarette with a lazy flick of his lips, crushed the filter under his boot on the wet pavement, and muttered, staring up at the heavens, "Now is the best time to sell umbrellas." Part 1. The Cobblestone's Smirk. "Excuse me, Mr. Stone, could I have a moment of your time?" Stone turned with a smirk. "Freddie, thought you had died in that shack of yours. I was starting to worry. You've been gone for, what, a week?" Freddie scratched his nose with his thumb, lined up his feet neatly along the cobblestones, and hurriedly tried to come up with the fastest excuse for his sudden disappearance. Clearing his throat, he said, yeah, guess I forgot to tell you. My old mother passed away just last week. I had to rush." Mr. Stone cut him off. "My condolences. If I remember right, you once said her tumor had gotten out of the doctor's control." "Oh, poor boy. This world doesn't often smile kindly at folks like us." He placed a heavy hand on Freddie's shoulder and continued in a sterner tone. "But, unfortunately, this factory needs its workers more than it sometimes seems. If Mr. Smith hadn't personally vouched for you, I would have had to let you go. But, my friend, I'm not a heartless man. I just need things to run the way they should. So, if one day an important arm like you decides to use the death of a mother he's never seen as an excuse after a week of boozing and brawling, just give me a heads up first. All right?" He squeezed Freddie's shoulder tighter and whispered into his ear, "Because you know I'm always here." He froze. His skin prickled with unease. He stepped back slightly, staring down at the cobblestones. Even though Mr. Stone's hand was gone, its weight still pressed on him. Swallowing hard, Freddie tried to apologize, but the boss silenced him by putting a finger to his lips and said, "Don't make me regret what Mr. Smith sees in you," and pushed open the office door, gesturing for Freddie to leave. Part 2. Dead End. As Freddie rushed down the stairs, he searched for Teddy. As far back as he could remember, Teddy was the only friend he'd ever had. They had met in a holding cell years ago when Freddie, after losing the last of his gambling money, smashed a vodka bottle over the head of a luckier, or perhaps less lucky, opponent. That hadn't been the last fight that night. At the station, when the thugs tried to rob him of his food and clothes, it was Teddy who stepped in. Even though the scar above Freddie's eyebrow remained from that brawl, he had found a brother. Later, he gave Teddy a corner of his tiny home to stay. Freddie searched the entire sugar factory, but there was no sign of him. Only one place remained, a dead-end alley by the west wall of the factory, the only place where smoking workers could find a moment's peace. But after the rain, the sun doesn't always shine. When Freddie finally found him, Teddy was a wreck. Bloodied, battered, his old coat torn to shreds, just like the day they met. Poor guy whimpered in pain, curled up, clutching his bleeding abdomen. Freddie slung Teddy's arm over his shoulder and, with all his strength, dragged him to the nearest hospital. Of course, he didn't call the police. Stone, Smith, and men like them fed the Chicago police daily, not just to buy protection, but because they enjoyed owning people. That pleasure had slowly begun seeping into Freddie's rough soul, too. When the doctors finally pulled a white sheet over Teddy's lifeless body, the only thing left in Freddie's eyes was hate.